Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, July 31st, 2023. It is the latest installment of Sports Talk Live with your host, myself, Nick Burt. We've been having some technical difficulties here in the studio, so we're going to do this as long as I can before, the difficulties become technical again, basically. It looks like everything is running for now, so gonna try to speed this up a little. It's the last day of July, which means that calendar's just about to flip to August. Football's right around the corner. First preseason game is on Thursday. The second, third, and fourth tiers of English football start on technically Friday. And we're about to get into it. We're gonna have some great content coming up in this next month. But let's just get into it. Like I said, we're going to try to speed run this before technical difficulties start happening again. CFL Week 8, we had a very interesting week in the CFL. Friday night, the Hamilton Tiger Cats went on the road and got a win in Ottawa against the Red Blacks, 16-12. The Red Blacks tried to make a comeback. It was quite an interesting game given the direction both teams seemed to be going. The Red Blacks seemed to be going up. Tiger Cats seemed to be going down. And, of course, with it being any given week, basically, anything can happen in the CFL. So the Tiger Cats come away with a big win. And most likely that's going to move them up in the power rankings coming on Wednesday. Hopefully technical difficulties are averted by then and we'll be back at our 9 o'clock time. But for the Red Blacks, they had a good streak going and now they don't win a game that's in overtime basically. So gonna wonder where that falls them to. On Saturday, we had a double header. The first one was the Toronto Argonauts defeating the Saskatchewan Roughriders 31-13. This was in Halifax, Nova Scotia, the annual Touchdown Atlantic game. CFL always trying to make their presence felt in the Maritimes as they keep trying to get that 10th team there. I don't know if it's going to happen. This has been going on for a long time now in different iterations. But, the Argonauts still the only undefeated team left in the league. They played a very good game. The Rough Riders just didn't look good at all. Mason Fine threw for 300 yards for the Rough Riders, but didn't have a touchdown all day. So it was a rough game for the Rough Riders. That downward spiral seems to be continuing, which could quite well be a problem for them in the coming weeks as the schedule only gets tougher. And then in the second game, the BC Lions traveled to Edmonton, face off against the Elks. They win 27-0, shutting out the Elks. The Elks now break the record for the most home losses consecutively. They're at 20 home losses now. Their last home win was in November of 2019. They passed, I believe it was the St. Louis Browns from the 1930s, which was a baseball team at the time. The Browns ended up moving to Baltimore and became the Orioles. They were an AL team, obviously. So St. Louis used to be a two-baseball city. But that's not the point here. The Elks, the downward spiral seems to continue. They think they hit rock bottom, and then it continues to go down. So quite a bit of problems happening there in Edmonton right now. I don't know what the fix is. Honestly, I don't think you can do a coaching change right now. Head coaching change, I should say. I believe they made an offensive coordinator change today, but I think another part of it is, Taylor Cornelius can only have so many chances before, saying it's time to go, buddy. And I feel like they're going to start movement there, but who knows. And then in the final game last night, the Calgary Stampeders traveled to Montreal where they lost to the Alouettes 25-18. The Alouettes are starting to once again look like that team that we saw the first 2 games for them. Now, obviously, in between there, they played a lot of decent teams, and now they're going back to face a not-so-great team because the Stamps aren't really that great. Given, the standings, if we look at them right here, they're 2-5 right now. The Alouettes are now at 3-3. Toronto still stands at the top of the East Division right now, and it's basically... It's going to be a 3-way race for that second spot, given how equally these teams are in the East between Montreal, Hamilton, and Ottawa. The West, BC, just putting a little bit of distance out now in between themselves and Winnipeg at 6-1, Winnipeg at 5-2. Saskatchewan's still at 3-4. It looks like they're going to stick with that spot as Calgary keeps sliding. They are now at 2-5. And the Edmonton Elks are at 0-8. You gotta wonder, when is this losing streak gonna come to an end? And I don't even know if I have the answer to that. So, given that, we'll quickly move, because like I said, I don't know how long this is gonna last. It's lasting longer than it has done previously, so they might have been fixed, but just to make sure, we will continue speed running this. The Women's World Cup, so we'll travel down to Australia. We've had 3 groups finish already. We're going to have 2 more finish by, I believe it's going to be 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, with kickoff times for Group Group E is at 3 a.m., and there go the technical difficulties. So basically, Portugal is playing the U.S. tonight. The U.S. has to win or draw. So given that with these technical difficulties, I'm going to cut this short because, of course, I jinxed it. So thank you for watching. Just a CFL recap. We'll be back on Wednesday. Hopefully these technical difficulties